right now as we get into picks and bans for game number 2, or if Elevate will stretch this out to a 3rd game. Here's my concern, and I've been rather critical of Faeles, so I do want to kind of step back. I think he had a pretty all-right game there. I think he had a pretty good game, honestly, playing in the team fights. But when it comes down to it, that was a pick composition, and I kind of think that Faeles played well, but played well in the wrong direction, if that makes any sense. We saw a lot of good team fight Thor and a lot of good objective Thor, but not a lot of strong individual gank opportunities, which is kind of what that team was structured around.
Yeah, if he was able to spend more time on that left-hand side in the mid game and really continue to punish Shaggyshenk for being behind, if he could have set up some dunks on that left-hand side. The problem is that going for ganks against that composition that Cringe Crew have through space and time and with the defender of Olympus, it's just so difficult to find that pick. Overall, I think that was the weakest we've seen Faeles in the 3 games that he's played with Elevate, but the first 2 games were so great that it's not a huge drop-off to say that.
Yeah, and like I said, he had a good game, and it was just the wrong style game that I would have liked to see in the Thor. So Faeles going to have the Batz at his disposal this time around, which I think makes a little bit more sense if that's the style he's looking for.
Right, he looked so great on this Batz game 1 against Cyclone as well.
That's his character.
I really like this, and with Repikas playing so well last time, I'm got no problem with them taking it away. Fafnir was the first pick here for EmilZy, and then there's the Athena locked in. This is definitely going to Repikas in the jungle, and I love the selection. Put Shaggyshenk on a hyper carry in the late game, and then let's just protect him. Let's just make sure he's okay.
Yeah, Cringe Crew certainly leaning on that hunter for sure. Chaac money selected for Elevate. You know, they keep going this Chaac, and I mean, they're after my own heart. They go Chaac Sunder. They get a kill with the Chaac Sunder. Me and Professor PM with the internet high five. But at the end of the day, I mean, Chaac is stronger now. I think Runeforged Chaac is actually a strong deal.
Yeah.
And it hits that stride of the mid game, and then just kind of, you know, late game, its application's a little bit troublesome.
Right. Chaac still has Chaac problems, right? He still doesn't do a whole lot for you in the late game. The ultimate's a little bit better now, but exactly, and we didn't see Jermain really do a good enough job of pushing Chaac leads, you know what I mean? When he gets those, he's not able to really make a huge impact in that later game. We'll have to see if Zyrhoes wants to go back to the Robin, really going to match that early game. We didn't really talk a whole lot about that Guan Yu-Robin matchup, but it was basically just Zyrhoes hitting him, MoGoW, you know, you will not fall, and then we just keep on going. Like, that's how it goes in that matchup. And
Zyrhoes kind of looks like Robin.
What?
I think Zyrhoes, you know, just a real aggressive dude.
Zyrhoes is like tall and skinny, and Robin is like massive, and he like fixes your face.
We're getting into the fix your face thing again?
Of course we're going to get into fix your face.
Why are we going to get into fix your face?
We're not going to get
into it. It's not even a Robin. It's the opposite. Early game dominance traded out for a late game team fight. Amaterasu going to be the selection for Cringe Crew. Next is the Vulcan. So we'll see Kero on this Vulcan, which has always been hit or miss, which is kind of the way his ultimate goes, right? Kero's Vulcan has either been fantastic in game carrying or possibly the reason the team loses.
I really like the composition from Cringe Crew overall, though. I mean, tons of setup for both Ram and Vulcan, tons of peel, mobility for immobile Vulcan coming out of Amaterasu with the auras, and Zyrhoes is so comfortable on Amaterasu. I love the pickup there. On the other side, Elevate's got a lot of setup as well. They've got setup for the Scylla via the knockups from Jermain, the Fear No Evil from Batz, and of course the lockdown from Ymir. Plus the Ymir wall is really, really excellent into this composition.
Absolutely.
Vulcan can get caught easily in the jungle. Shaggyshenk can to a degree. I mean, the ultimate's going to help buy him some time to outlast that wall if he can time it right, but not going to be able to run around quite as easily. And the wall is so potent up against Amaterasu. Really shuts her down if you can find her in the jungle with some numbers on your side. So I love the selection from Dardez to go for this Ymir.
Yeah, I think the Ymir is pretty much the optimal choice. You know, there very rarely is a yes and a no, but I think that's certainly the yes.
The problem with this pick, though, is that they've got so much setup for characters like Ram and like Vulcan, and if they can lock down this Ymir and just hit him with a lot of spills, I mean, taunt into turret backfire into meatball is going to spell a lot of trouble for Dardez, and so he has to be very careful with his positioning. I would not be at all surprised to see Repikas really try and focus down the support in this game. Ymir, you know, famously was once said he does really badly up against compositions that can kill him, and this is a composition that can kill him.
Sure. We'll see how it works out. Dardez in general is very aggressive, so he'll certainly be available for Cringe Crew to kill him. And does that actually happen? is a different story. We'll have to see how this one works out so far. WorldEdit on the Scylla. I'm always concerned. I'm always concerned when I see Scylla come out for these newer mid laners. Scylla is, I mean, on paper, she is very cut and dry.
Sure.
But executing her, I mean, you're a mid laner.
Yeah.
The execution of Scylla is not simple.
No, not whatsoever. And you're right. It is one of those mids that, you know, like a jungler in specific will come in and be like, dude, I can just carry a game with Scylla. This ult's broken. And then they end up dying a whole lot. In fact, I used to, whenever I was on a team with Chapo, he used to tell me all the time that his Scylla was way better than mine. I leave, Chapo moves to the mid lane, plays Scylla first game, and feeds his brains out. But who's counting? But who's counting?
His Scylla's probably better than yours.
That's not even close to true. Your boy had one of the best Scyllas on the box, dude.
I don't believe that. Jermain trying to get aggressive here. Not gonna find it. No, I'll give credit where credit's due. Your Scylla's not bad. WorldEdit, this is his chance to really prove that. He's doing all right now. And this is the scary part for the Scylla, this early game, especially against the Vulcan character. Vulcan and Repikas on the Athena, they can really punish WorldEdit right now. So I'm very curious to see how this one works out.
Kind of surprised to see WorldEdit going for the Dynasty Plate helm right off the bat here. I mean, you don't have a physical jungler, you don't have a physical mid to go up against. Usually that's when you see one of those two. But you probably will see WorldEdit go for the exact same build he did last time for that one-shot sort of early game build, which I think really synergizes well with Scylla. That's what you want to do, is just pick a target and kill it right away. Plus, it will still give you value up against Zyrhoes, up against Shaggyshenk. Plus, it's just a really cheap damage and penetration item. What are the things you want as a mage? You want damage and you want penetration, and it gives you both.
So it works out.
It does work out.
Do you consider this item, this is actually an interesting question, do you consider the helmet a offensive or defensive item?
It's both, but
you think it's a hybrid?
I'd say it's 60-40 offense.
All right, well right now Dardez is the target of some offense. 3 players on the left side, and good wall coming out from himself, but Repikas gonna take him out.
Dardez not able to escape the first blood, and this is what you see all the time out of Athena jungle. Hit 5, ult to a solo, ult to a side lane. That's what you do. You get a kill on the side lane when they aren't ready for it. Speaking of not ready for it, Zyrhoes perfectly immunes the ult and stuns out Faeles at the perfect time. Is he gonna get out here?
He just might. The hammer throw is not gonna be enough. And Zyrhoes survives the onslaught out of Faeles and MoGoW. Like you said, the perfectly timed stun onto the monkey. We saw Zyrhoes get crowd controlled out of Fear No Evil, but there was nothing that could be done about it.
Perfect play from Zyrhoes, but Faeles had Purification available and could have used it to try and get the kill there. I guess decided that he may have been able to get it without it, or maybe it wasn't worth the kill. It's really a personal sort of thing if he thought the kill was worth it there, I guess. Zyrhoes able to escape and still hanging tough in this lane. This should be a losing matchup, right? Amaterasu, later game. Not as late game as a lot of solos would have you believe at the beginning of her viability and pick. It was like, oh yeah, you just insta-lose the laning phase and you try and do what you can in the team fights. Guys like Dimmy and like Baskin have really shown us that you can win an early laning phase with Amaterasu and make an impact in the late game as well. But this time you expect, Chaac is the premier early solo laner.
Yeah,
right?
Axe chill.
Axe, Bluestone, gone.
What was that?
That was the Thunder Strike, dude.
Do it again?
Whenever you hit okay, so you're walking up to the wave as Chaac.
I wish you could see Agro's walk animation.
You like walk up to the wave as Chaac and go and destroy the wave with your one. I played Chaac yesterday. I know what the sound is like. Come on.
I thought you said
wait, he's using this skin, so it sounds a little different.
I thought you said after one game you'd be warmed up.
Yeah, I am warm,
That's
dude.
the result?
That's a perfect impersonation. That's how warm I am.
Oh my goodness. I don't know about that. Zyrhoes gonna fight this Chaac right now. Have HP on the Amy. And MoGoW going for it.
No health potions available now for Zyrhoes. Does have the multi potion. Plus he can heal with the stance switch. MoGoW never going to be in danger of dying in this lane, even if with a gank from Repikas mostly.
See, I thought, and I think this is a little bit more realistic. I thought Vulcan.
You were saying?
I thought that was Chaac calling for help on a walkie-talkie. He throws an axe and then goes, "Shh, I've used all my abilities, help."
Okay, well,
that's what Chaac does.
Well, you heard the difference there. You said, "Shh," I said, "Pfft." Clear difference.
It sounds the same to me.
Don't you like listen to stuff for a living, kind of? Like you listen to people talk? I mean, this is, come on.
Over. That's it. That's me.
Yeah, that would have a ch in front of it because over is like a walkie-talkie sort of thing.
This conversation has to be over right now. Elevate
10-4.
Trying to deal with it in the solo lane.
MoGoW again just doing Chaac things. We're going to have to see if he can make the impact that Zyrhoes can in the later stages of the game. And Chaac does really well up against Vulcan because Vulcan's not going to be able to get away from that slow. Even with backfire, if you throw the axe a little bit behind him and then use the 3 right afterwards, you create a giant rain, you know, forest basically. No way for Kero to kind of get out of that without popping Purification, without help of a sprint from EmilZy. We're going to have to see if that's what he's going to go for. Sprint could work really, really well here. You see multiple slows on the side of Elevate. You've got the slow from Somersault, which probably won't be using Sprint for, but the big slows from MoGoW, the slows from Dardez to get you out of that ultimate. A Sprint could bring big value for Cringe Crew.
Also could a couple of Wing Blades.
Yes, a wing blade here for Amaterasu would be really solid. Even Kero would really benefit from a wing blade. I would not mind whatsoever to see him go for the Clow build. You know, the
Clow build?
The Clow build. He goes helmet into boots into wing blade, and then you can't kill him even though you want to.
And then he can't kill you either because he has no damage.
Well, that's why he's got Transonics and Wolves.
Well, Kero right now, well, I guess that's why he's got Shaggyshenk, going to bring out some of the damage. But you're playing the Vulcan. You're playing the Vulcan. On a
yeah, but your base damage is nuts.
Sure, but even still, troublesome.
Your base damage is nuts. You're going to be able to do it, but here comes the combo. Repikas gets eaten, but not quite enough damage. Shell from EmilZy was perfectly timed. I love the play from EmilZy. Staying on the outside part. He doesn't get feared. He's just close enough to hit the shell, but not close enough to get hit by the CC. Repikas owes his life to the support.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was the WorldEdit played that as best as he could.
Plus, you see the reinforced Greaves for EmilZy, and I like this pickup as well. He's kind of giving up the idea of doing a ton of damage with the pen boots. He's still going to do damage. I mean, Athena with a lot of levels can do a lot for you, but if he's going to go into this helm right afterwards, that'll boost his damage. And so right now he's going for the defensive option. Look at the CC available to Elevate. I mean, you've got the Fear No Evil, which we just saw. The freeze, getting that CCR is going to be so important, as well as Fear No Evil stacks that passive basically immediately on those reinforced Greaves. Again, you know, for those of you at home, reinforced Greaves passive is that when you take damage, you gain protections. I believe it's 3 protections of each type up to 5 or 6. I believe it's 6 after the change. So he's going to be getting those stacks very quickly because each tick of that Fear No Evil that fears him is going to add on to that passive.
And there it is. Yeah, it stacks up to 6 times. And it's 3 protections. But my concern is that Cringe Crew don't have the Freya available to them. Sure, they've got Ram, and Ram is definitely a late game carry, but not as heavy as Freya. And here, if Repikas is going super tanky, if Kero does opt to go the Winged Blade, right, and he builds tanky, and Zyrhoes is building tanky over there, where is the damage going to come? Last game, it was all Shaggyshenk because he was playing Freya. This game on the Ram, I don't think they have that luxury of just trusting Shaggyshenk.
No, but they do have more damage in the mid lane with the Vulcan. Vulcan's going to bring more team fight damage than a Giannis, basically at any stage of the game, outside of a huge play from Kero where he hits multiple people with through space and time. But you'd rather hit more people with through space and time than more people with, or rather Earthshaker than through space and time anyways. So they're kind of spreading out the responsibility of damage this time, but it's still going to be a lot on Shaggyshenk. He's going to be, especially with the Coerce buff from EmilZy, he'll be able to pump out late game damage.
Remember your last game how we were talking about in the duo lane, Jermain using his purification off of the audio cue?
Yeah.
You hear the audio cue of Repi's dash, and that audio cue alone is enough to chase out an ultimate from MoGoW.
I mean, that ultimate is on a fairly low cooldown. Kero actually taking a lot of damage, but WorldEdit's trying to make the play by himself. Doesn't get hit by the Vulcan ultimate in return, but does trade out basically ult for ult, but the ult for Scylla is probably more important at this stage of the game. They're really relying on that I'm a Monster to carry them through team fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a large part of what Elevate's able to do, but so far, 9 minutes on the clock, only 1 kill, and it belongs to Cringe Crew. Elevate trying to find an opportunity. EmilZy might be the target, but WorldEdit not going to find the route.
It's going to be difficult for Elevate to sneak a Gold Fury up against Cringe Crew. It's one of the greatest strengths of Cringe Crew's composition that we haven't really touched on yet is the objective control. I mean, it is insane. You've got 3 tanks to frontline for you. You've got Repikas having the Defender of Olympus. Of course, we see teams burn objectives all the time with the Fafnir ultimate and then the Wrath for Athena, but Elevate doesn't care. They're going for this.
Yeah, I mean, the Ymir ultimate's a big choice, and That'll help Elevate secure their first Gold Fury, which keeps them in the game, essentially. Cringe Crew were slowly building a lead. They got the first blood, obviously, which puts 500 gold in their pocket, and they were able to slowly find a couple of other options. But that Gold Fury essentially restarts the game, and Elevate looking at a new one at 10 minutes.
Guess it's a little bit easier to sneak a Gold Fury against Cringe Crew's composition than I thought. I mean, Elevate's hanging around the Gold Fury, and then Cringe Crew goes to farm up back rights. Apparently not too worried about it. And I love the build choice here. It actually isn't the Dynasty Blade helm coming out for Repikas. It's the Celestial Legion helm. Going to be really, really good. It gives him more damage and more protections. And you get the anti-crit.
No crit.
You get no crit.
No crit.
Whenever you get crit, well, you do get crit. But
No
you
crit.
get crit, and then you gain 40 magical power for 3 seconds. So you're going to be able to stop the crits coming out from Faeles until he really builds into it later on. But that's going to be significantly later. I love the build so far from Repikas. I love it.
Do not crit me. Repikas is building tanky, you know. This is I'm very interested to see how it works. Because I, for one, am a fan of Athena jungle building a little bit more offensive. But this one is pure setup, and we'll see how Cringe Crew are able to capitalize off of it. Like we said, Kero certainly will be the character to look to as far as that setup is concerned.
I mean,
Repikas going to really enable his mid lane.
He does have 60 power right now, or plus the power from the boots, which I believe is 20. So he's got 80 power plus. If he gets crit by Faeles, or tries to get crit by Faeles and it goes off, he'll have another 40 on top of that. So
sure.
He's going to be doing a good amount of damage. Plus, we talk about it all the time. The base damage from Shield Wall is so strong on Athena. That's one of the reasons she's so potent in the jungle. You don't have to worry about building pure power to really make an impact on the damage numbers.
Right now, Zyrhoes still battling it out with MoGoW, as to be expected. Everything about even. MoGoW maybe a half level, if that, above Zyrhoes. I think it's more like a quarter of a level.
So it looks like Zyrhoes is going to go into the Ichval again. This time on Amaterasu. Zyrhoes, ever since moving from the mid lane to the solo, actually hold that thought. It's going to be a taunt onto Faeles with the immediate root crush onto Repikas.
Monster.
There's the shell, and then actually the Sanctuary immunes it perfectly. Now Faeles gets turned around. EmilZy jumps forward, transforms into the dragon, but is he going to be able to catch up to the monkey?
Absolutely not.
Nope. Nope, no kills. Shaggyshenk makes the rotation, level 14. He's looking at WorldEdit, gets a couple hits, going up into the sky. One, doesn't find the second. Third is going to be off the mark as well. Able to dodge the ice carpet, so not going to get punished for his transgressions. But the middle lane is going to get looked at here by Cringe Crew.
Push coming out from the blue squad, and this one should go down pretty much, I was going to say without a fight, but here comes MoGoW, the one-man fight. Go ahead and separate Shaggyshenk from the rest of the team thanks to a strong wall, but a Sanctuary saves the life of the Ram player. Here's the full retreat out of Cringe Crew, but they get what they came for. Tier 1 goes down, that's 500 gold in the pockets of Cringe Crew, and everything even here in our 13th minute.
Elevate need to be careful about sieging this because Repikas does have Defender of Olympus available. It looks like Cringe Crew's on the back foot, but they could turn this easily. Here it comes, Defender of Olympus onto Kero. Root going to be off the mark. Kero does take a little bit of poke, but yeah, Elevate has to back up.
Dardez, and that's one of the issues with this composition is if Dardez misses the freeze, well, there's not many other tools that Elevate have at their disposal, right? Faeles is pretty much an ultimate bot, right? Ultimate, if it's not available, there's no control there. MoGoW doesn't have much control despite being a solo laner. WorldEdit, all he has is the root. So when Dardez misses the freeze, I mean, there's not a lot of lack of forget initiation, but just control in general.
Yeah, you have to be careful of that if you're the rest of Elevate. You're right. I mean, so much of this composition is around control into Scylla damage, and if you're lacking the control, you're probably going to be lacking the Scylla damage as well. WorldEdit second on the charts right now, and it looks like he wants to make a play in this duo lane because Shaggyshenk, while getting that middle tier 1 tower, did use both of his relics, both down for about 80 seconds still to go, so he needs to be careful. He's exposed right now.
And Scylla, look at the damage coming out of MoGoW. That's really what I'm looking at specifically. Double the damage of Zyrhoes. However, you know, not really hearing anything about it. No solo kills or anything. How is that able to happen?
Chaac doing Chaac stuff. Going whenever Zyrhoes is near the minion wave and doing a little chunk of his health, and then he switches stances and it's all cool.
Yeah.
And going for the Zykval here, I mean, I understand it on the Raven because you're going to be able to stick to Guan Yu very easily. Here, Zyrhoes going to have a tough time sticking to MoGoW in lane. And so he's not really building it for the in-lane fight. He's going to be trying to trade out autos with characters like Jermain and Faeles in the late game, but I don't know if that's really the style you want to be going for on Amaterasu. I mean, I think I don't know. I understand the idea, and Zyrhoes is the guy who's always trying new stuff. That's what I was about to say. Going to the solo lane, we saw him building Stone of Gaia, you know, second item up against some of his matchups. So he's always willing to try new things. And what this is going to do, like I mentioned, is boosting his attack speed. You can see how fast it is right now. And he's going to be able to trade a little bit better with these physical damage dealers on the side of Elevate. We'll have to wait and see if it's going to be effective enough to warrant the purchase.
Yeah, and Zyrhoes generally wants to fight. They give all a fantastic fighting item. Shaggyshenk can start the Gold Fury, but now look for the fight. Monster hits Shaggy for 60% of his HP, but he's the one dealing damage. That'll take everybody to the sky. Kero gets the kill out of Faeles. And that's going to be trouble for Elevate. Shaggy still trying to give the damage out to WorldEdit, but he's able to dash away. Followed up by EmilZy looking for the turnaround. Can't quite get it. Ultimate out of Kero. Right on the money. Down goes WorldEdit. There's the big shot out of the big man. Vulcan makes it count.
And now Wrath still available for Cringe Crew. Looking great in this fight. 3-0 right now in the kill department. EmilZy getting the whole team coerced. Jermain is going to try and make a play on this Gold Fury. Knockup going to do it for now, but Gold Fury does go the way of Cringe Crew.
Wall.
Wasn't as good. It wasn't. We're gonna have to wait on that.
No, see, it was the exact call that I wanted to make, because Dardez, had that been an impactful wall, you would have gotten the full display. But right there, Dardez puts down the wall, pretty much separating his team from Cringe Crew. I think that was an opportunity for Elevate to go in, but instead Dardez just sort of drops a wall instead of really positions a strong wall.
Yeah, we'll get there. Dardez is going to have a great wall, and we'll both go off, and it'll be fun for everyone. Speaking of fun for everyone...
Average wall.
Shaggy is doing really, really well yet again this game. Hasn't picked up a kill, but that time able to just buy enough time. I like the idea coming out from Elevate to try and use the two big key ultimates, the Fear No Evil and the I'm a Monster, to pick off the Hunter that had no relics, but it just was not quite enough damage. It was very close. WorldEdit still needs a couple more items in order to get it, and it looks like he wanted to go into that exact same build as last time, right?
Yep.
He wanted to go into the Soul Reaver, got the Soul Reliquary, and then realized that there's 3 tanks on the side of Cringe Crew, and decided, wait, I need pen before I can get there. Most of the time, you'll hear me criticize whenever you buy an item and then sell it, or don't build into it. But in this sort of situation, 30 power for 700 gold isn't great for Soul Reliquary, but I like the idea to change up his build immediately and go for what is needed, and that's penetration.
I'm always a fan of the hot swap, right? When you see, building towards power and then you get in trouble and you have to build a defensive item. I like to see players be able to sort of pivot on the spot. Right side, there's a lot of trouble coming out. You can see Cringe Crew being surrounded by Elevate members. Here comes WorldEdit. Root's going to find one, and there's trouble out of the crush. Repikas half HP or lower, looking for the big hit, and it's going to be immune. WorldEdit just stares again at a Sanctuary.
Perfect Sanctuary, gonna use the root to finish it off. Vulcan ultimate comes in, but immune to a lot of damage by the shell. Repi push into the wall, and WorldEdit picks up another kill. Now Kero, there's the wall, blocks off the Vulcan. Sanctuary gonna buy him a little bit of time. The Dragon Transformation not gonna be able to help him out.
WorldEdit.
3 kills for WorldEdit now. EmilZy forced to jump away. Love the play out of the new mid laner, WorldEdit.
Yeah, 2 kills in that exchange, and the ultimate not even gonna be utilized correctly. Nice chase, I guess, out of WorldEdit. He's able to at least separate his team from the target. Not able to find the kill just yet. Hunter v Hunter. Jermain takes a trip to the sky, and he's going to take a trip to the ground. Shaggyshenk finds a shot, able to put down the Jing Wei, and that'll be enough.
And then again, it's just Cringe Crew waiting for Shaggy to be their savior right now. He's 1-0, 1-0-3, and the fight on the right side was all WorldEdit. Picks up all 3 kills in the engagement. Great setup from Faeles. Uses the Fear No Evil to push Repikas into the wall when he doesn't have any purification, only has that Sanctuary. WorldEdit positioned well. The I'm a Monster was immune there, yes, but really on point with the positioning and following up, being patient with your skills. The worst thing you can do with Scylla is just throw out crushes willy-nilly, just hoping to find the big crush. Wait for your setup. Wait for it to be a confirmed kill or a confirmed damage, and be that impact character that your team drafted you for.
And we've seen, it's interesting. WorldEdit has not really been that accurate with some of these abilities, but in that last team fight, absolutely made everything count.
That's all that matters, man. You just need to have one good team fight in Scylla, and that's one of her really greatest strengths. Is you could be down 7-8K gold defending a Phoenix, and then all of a sudden you can wipe a team with I'm a Monster. You can win a team fight by yourself by hitting a 3-man root. You know, there's so much that you can do, and even though Elevate was goose-egged up until that point, 3 kills go the way of WorldEdit. He evens himself up with Kero and levels, in fact, a little bit ahead in gold. The problem here is that Faeles is still significantly down for Repikas. He's got to find a way back into the game.
Yeah, right now, EmilZy going to get targeted again, as usual. Shaggyshenk going to show up and try to deal the damage, as usual. I thought we were going to see a big initiation coming out from Cringe Crew, but they're going to retreat here.
EmilZy just got poked out too early on to really want to go deep there. Zyrhoes all the while just trying to steal away this speed buff. MoGoW with the Runeforged Hammer. Zyrhoes taking extra damage right now. Love the build. There's the wall. Forces the Dazzling Offensive. Immunes the Storm Call from MoGoW. Vulcan ultimate over the top. Gonna force out the shell, but really just tickle the Ymir.
Yeah, Dardez didn't take too much damage from that one at all, even though there is a decent amount of penetration on our Vulcan.
Yeah, just doesn't have the overall damage quite yet, but the shell just doing a lot of work. But this is good because Elevate not having that shell, if you're rooting for Cringe Crew, you do have the shell, and a lot of times that's what can make or break a team fight. We've seen EmilZy look great on that. Dash taunt onto WorldEdit, meatball over the top. WorldEdit getting very low, has to dash away, but Shaggyshenk's up into the sky.
Over the top comes the Scylla ultimate. He's immediately punished for it. Shaggyshenk gets the credit for the kill off of the ultimate of his own. Nice crush that still lingered there. Was going to separate the team fight, but now Cringe Crew, as soon as it falls, looking for the offensive. EmilZy still giving chase in this ultimate form, trying to find somebody, but nobody's going to take the bait. Backing off just a little bit is Cringe Crew, looking to take the tower, but not looking to full commit. Repikas goes ahead, dashes forward. So will the Hunter player. EmilZy gets a chunk out of him. Here comes MoGoW. EmilZy gets taken out by Jermain, and the damage still slinging it. That'll be enough to keep Cringe Crew off the tower for now.
There's a great wall. It actually saves the tier 2 tower's life. Repikas getting low. Good meatball forces Jermain back. Faeles actually gonna jump in. Only level 14. Zyrhoes says, nah, none of that garbage. He's gonna pick him off.
Just enough damage taking out Faeles, and the double kill is good enough. I think Elevate right there underestimated how much damage Zyrhoes was going to be able to build.
But what a great play from Dardez to turn it around. He actually throws up the wall and then freezes 3 through it. Jermain able to pick up a couple. Jermain starting to make the impact that they need him to, sitting third on his team in the player damage charts, now passing Shaggyshenk after he takes his first spill of the game. Tier 1 tower is going to fall, and Gold Fury is up for Elevate. No Repikas, no Shaggyshenk means that this is going to be tough for the rest of Cringe Crew to contend with.
Well, it's going to take one player. Zyrhoes shows up, he gets hit by a couple of abilities, and that's all it's going to take from Elevate.
Do you see how much extra damage he took from Runeforged there? Runeforged Chaac, dude. It's the truth.
I mean, that's the one thing that I've been talking about is the fact that, you know, Runeforged Chaac can amplify the damage out of the rest of the team, so that'll certainly help. Gold Fury is being lightly contested by EmilZy, and Elevate don't seem to care. There comes the Vulcan ultimate. It still goes the way of Elevate. Well done by the boys in red. EmilZy gets his ultimate forced out. Kero on the backside gets targeted, but WorldEdit looking at the wrong target. Not going to find it despite being a monster. Faeles takes out Kero, and down goes EmilZy to the hand of MoGoW. Repi being chased out. Dance to dash forward. Jermain gets one as well. 10 kills in total for Elevate, sharing the wealth. 4 players down.
That's the worst thing that Cringe Crew could have done. Just give up the Gold Fury. You're still in a fine position. Instead, they go in one by one. First Zyrhoes, then Kero, then EmilZy, then Repi, and all of a sudden, you're 4 dead and the Fire Giant's still available. Shaggyshenk doing his best to make sure that Elevate doesn't get it for free, trying to poke out WorldEdit, make him a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of trying to tank it up, while buying Elevate some time, and they're going onto the Fire Giant, falling low, sitting about 2/3 HP.
The wall lasts so long. It lasts long enough for Elevate to take the Fire Giant down to half
Shaggy's
HP.
in the air.
Shaggy takes to the sky, but it's going to isolate Zyrhoes. Ultimate used by Faeles to again separate. Fire Giant still taken out. Elevate play that absolutely flawlessly. Shaggyshenk still able to shoot Faeles in the face.
Just trying to use those astral arrows, gets through the big body blocks of Dardez. Faeles trying to make the big play. Not quite on the same page as everyone else. The rest of Elevate wanted to get that Fire Giant and get the hell out of there. Instead, they do lose 1, so this does hurt Elevate's push, only having 4 members with Fire Giant, but still Elevate in control of this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was an excellent take. This was Cringe Crew's game. They had controlled this game from minute 1, and then maybe 3 minutes ago, they handed Elevate a personalized invitation to not only come to the party, but take it away from them. And now Elevate leading by 2K.
It was the dash ton under the tier 2 tower onto MoGoW. You saw Shaggyshenk actually roll forward. They try and burst down the tanky Chaac instead. He's able to turn it around, gets a huge ultimate off, and then it all falls apart from there. The rest of Cringe Crew get chased down in the mid lane. Zyrhoes trades out, but it ends up not mattering as multiple members fall, and then the conveyor belt of Cringe Crew members into the Gold Fury pit, dying one after another, opens up the Fire Giant. You're right. I mean, this was Cringe Crew's game to win. One misplay here just really turns it around in Elevate's favor.
Completely. And now Elevate have a new burst of life in them. They take down a tier 1 tower, looking for the tier 2. This will be the first tier 2 of the game, since technically Elevate's tier 2 tower still sits in the mid lane. Here comes the push forward. Toss out the ultimate from Vulcan. Will do a decent amount of damage. Dardez is in trouble, but he's able to put the wall to separate himself from the rest of the squadron. And there, that tier 2 tower will be fine.
Great route.
Big damage out of the mid lane Scylla.
Perfect play there from WorldEdit. That's what I was talking about, man. That 3-man Sikkim picks off EmilZy, and what looked like it could have been Elevate's fight to lose gets turned around by their new mid laner, Kero, sitting under half health right now. No ultimate available. Cringe Crew just need to give up this tier 2 tower.
And that's what they'll do, but Jermain looking to push forward. Love the dance out of him to avoid the mean ball as well. Just not going to take the bait.
WorldEdit laughing at himself a little bit there, I think. Popped the purification after dashing in aggressively. Now coming around for the flank, looking for it. The ultimate out of Ymir is good, but Shaggyshenk picks him up. Nice 2-man crush, is going to do some damage to Repi and Zyrhoes, but not quite enough. Dardez just not on the same page as everyone else.
Another wave of minions coming into this tier 2 tower, going to allow Elevate to think about staying aggressive. Not going to do it. Repikas low. There's the ultimate. Can't dash away. MoGoW hits him with the axe. Fails with the flank. Takes out one, but Zero's able to punish him as well. Tier 2 tower goes down.
No frontliners left, though, for Elevate except for this Chaac, but he's level 20. He's going to be able to tank this
good, man.
Very easily. Jermain just trying to get this Phoenix with the help of WorldEdit. Ultimate still not available for Shaggyshenk. Is he able to come in and make a big play to defend this Phoenix? No,
well,
it already's dead.
Yeah, Elevate were just looking for the Phoenix. They paid a little bit. Dardez, like we said, went down, and Faeles with a flank. So Faeles traded his life for that play, and it kind of that's one of those deceptive plays that, like, on the surface looks pretty terrible. Faeles dives into 3 and just sort of falls over, but it's important. By making that flank, he gets one and he trades his life out, but that separated the team to allow Elevate to get that tier 2 tower, and then because that tier 2 tower went down in the fashion that it did, the Phoenix falls as well. So it looked to be kind of a questionable positioning decision by Faeles, actually enables Elevate to push all the way and take down a second a Phoenix, the first Phoenix rather. It was a very important play from the jungler.
I completely agree with you, because think about it. How much is Faeles going to be able to do on a Phoenix push?
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
not that much. How well is Kero going to be able to defend a Phoenix push? Really, really well. He's going to be able to toss out that turret, the meatballs, make it really difficult for Elevate to siege down that Phoenix. Faeles trading out his life for the mid laner that's ahead of him in levels as well. Love the decision. Love the unselfishness to be willing to give up his own life. You know, keep ruining that KDA to make sure his team is in the lead. It's a big one for Elevate right now with that Gold Fury. Very, very close to 10,000 gold, sitting right around 8,000-9,000 total. Fire Giant's going to be respawning here in the next 35 seconds. And for me, I'm looking at Kero now. Shaggyshenk has done a good job, but we really need to see a big Earthshaker come out of this mid lane Vulcan and make an impact in these team fights.
And this was my concern about Cringe Crew's composition here, and, you know, looking directly at Kero specifically, is that Shaggyshenk has been doing a fine job on the Ram, and this is the difference between the Ram and the Freya, how hard these characters can carry. Freya's always going to be able to carry a little bit harder than Ram, right? She just has that upfront damage.
In some instances, yeah. I feel like it can be a little bit player dependent. I mean, Ram in the hands of someone like Barracuda can really make a huge impact.
In Shaggyshenk's instance, Freya is certainly his character.
Right.
And so Kero has to contribute a little bit more. Dardez misses the freeze right there. But Kero absolutely has to be doing a little bit more than he is right now.
Sitting top of his team in the player damage, doing okay, but again, now you're level 19, now you've got the Soul Reaver, now's the time to make the game-changing play. It's kind of like Scylla. You pick Vulcan to have those big plays in the late game. Shaggy gets his Purification forced, and that's a big win for Elevate. Shaggy cannot be there just eating that freeze for nothing. In fact, there wasn't even any setup, or any follow-up rather, coming out from the rest of Elevate. Shaggy probably didn't need to use the purification there, but without the ward vision, without the understanding of where the rest of Elevate is, he has to.
That's the beauty of the positioning coming out from Dardez. Another freeze, this time no purification available for Shaggy.
Goodbye.
There's the setup, and bang! WorldEdit gets the kill. Looking for a second target, won't find it. He gets knocked down to half HP, however. Purification and Sanctuary, and he's gonna fall down anyway. Zyrhoes gets credit. 2 dead on Cringe Crew, 1 down for Elevate. Still looking for the fight. Repikas is the target. Where's the wall coming out from the Ymir? Waiting for it, but doesn't even need it. Great stun, but it doesn't matter. Jermain finds his 6th kill of the contest, and Elevate not looking for the Fire Giant anymore. With 3 down, just Zyrhoes and Kero available. Elevate looking for the win. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a game 3.
Kero gonna do a good amount of damage to Jermain. Forced up into the airstrike, but I don't think it's gonna matter in the end. Zyrhoes falls to MoGoW, and now it's only Vulcan left to defend to his Titan against a full fire wave and multiple members of Elevate. Elevate turn it around. MoGoW on this Chaac, making the impact that we needed him to make. I mean, that game turned around because he gets taunted in and then hits the big ultimate in return. Awesome play there for MoGoW, and it really set the tone for the comeback for Elevate.
Well, I asked a question at the beginning of the game. As soon as we got into picks and bans, I said, yo, how much damage, how much impact is Chaac going to be able to make in the late game when it counts? That'll be the question for Elevate. And they answered me. They answered back, and MoGoW totally makes the Chaac pick count. Elevate able to take this one away.
That was a really big win for them, obviously, for multiple reasons. I mean, number one, they would have been eliminated without it. This would have been the end of their run here in Season 3. Instead, they're forcing Cringe Crew to a 3rd game. And for once, Cringe Crew actually doesn't lose the first game and then win the second. I mean, this is split crew. Normally, this would be a split. In the online stages, you know, they play 2 games. They win the first one, lose the second. Split crew. They don't have that option now. We're going to game 3. They cannot split here. Someone has to come out on top to face Dignitas.
Absolutely.